Welcome back. I'm Sam Hedden, and this is Now You Know. We're meeting with a very special guest. His name is Nathan Block. He is the owner and operator of Distant Calling Pictures, a local LLC filmmaking company. He's also an owner and operator of Woodbury 10 Theater. He's done over 40 short films, and he was in concert promoting for over 14 years. Now, can you elaborate what a 48 film festival is for people who might be watching who have never heard? I mean, the film festival we've heard of, but 48, maybe they haven't. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the 48-hour film project is, as the name implies, you have 48 hours to make a film from the ground up. And you've got to cast, write the story, shoot, edit, sound design, everything within a period of 48 hours. And it's held in a number of cities around the country. Minneapolis is luckily one of the stops on the tour, but it's now a worldwide thing. It's not just confined to the United States. It's now a worldwide, global contest. And now within the 48-hour project family, there are other competitions that have sprung up that are sort of separate from the original 48, where you just got 2 days to make a film. And there are films where you can compete on sort of a global scale, and I've competed in those as well. And I mean, they've really come a long way, and good for them, because it's wonderful to be able to have an excuse to make a movie and have it find an audience. And filmmaking, like anything else, is a skill where you just, every once in a while, you got to flex the muscle. Mm-hmm. And the more films you make, the better you get. And having an opportunity to make a film like that and have it put in front of an audience and be seen is a wonderful exercise for a filmmaker. And I don't understand filmmakers who don't embrace the idea of getting a chance to do this once a year or twice a year. It's wonderful. And I can't imagine. I've been doing the 48-hour film project now every year since 2007, and I cannot imagine not doing it. I can't imagine a year where I would not do it. It's become so much a part of my life.
Well, normally I would ask what your favorite short film you've created is, but because you have so many, what are your top 3 if you had to pick them?
Oh, man. Oh, it's so hard.
I could have asked for 1. I gave you options.
Well, yeah, I know, and I appreciate that, because you're right. You get so attached to the stuff that you do. And I think the first one that comes to mind is one that I just did very, very recently called Forget Me Not. And there was just something about that film that really resonated with me. Just there have been some personal things in my life that I've drawn from, that I coached the actors with, and some of the writing process. And Forget Me Not is an example of the type of films that I really want to make. Mm-hmm. I really like a good drama that really sort of digs into your brain and makes you think. Mm-hmm. And I think that this film does. I hope it does. There was just something very special about the shoot, about everybody who worked on it. It's really, I'm very proud of it. And it's going to be one of my favorites forever. And also just the music in the film is some of the best music that I've ever had in a film. An original composition by David Obaniyi, who actually I've never met. The guy lives in New Jersey, and hopefully one day I get to shake his hand and tell him how great his composition was, other than just an email here and there. Another one would be the horror film that we just created very recently called Peter Peter. And I'm not much of a horror guy, because I don't really enjoy dreaming up new ways to kill people unless they really deserve it. And there was just something about the script that Jada Knutson wrote, who actually is my go-to makeup artist for the films that I've been doing recently, and she handed me this script and said, "Would you like to make this?" And I couldn't put it down. And I said, "Yeah, we are going to make this film." And I am so proud of Peter. It's really an original film, horror-wise, which is hard to do because we've had so many slasher, zombie, ghost type films that it's like, well, what is there left to do? Well, I think that we found something that hadn't been done yet. And we've actually already been picked up by another festival. Crimson Screen is one of the premier horror film festivals. Let's try that again. In the country, they're going to screen the film here next weekend, which I'm super excited about. So, yeah, it was a great film. It was super fun to make. I had wonderful people helping me, and so yeah, that's one of my favorites too. And another one of my favorites is Kung Fu Canoe, which is a comedy, and actually Sam helped on this one, saved my life. But Kung Fu Canoe, it's so hard to be funny, and I don't think that people really understand how terrifying comedy is. And to give you an example, it's like, just think for a minute how many comedy films you've seen, and how many comedy films you've seen that you've hated and everybody else has loved. And on that flip side of that coin, how many comedic films you've seen that you've loved and you've shown to a bunch of people and they go, well, that wasn't very funny. And you're like, what are you talking about? It was hilarious. That's how hard it is to do comedy. It's terrible. I would rather try and remake The Godfather than do a comedic film. It's so tough. But Kung Fu Canoe, and again, I know it's all subjective, but number one, we had the most fun shooting that film that I think we will ever have making another film. And that's the one thing about making a comedic film is you have so much fun when you're making it. I mean, obviously, you have fun making any type of a movie, but when you're making a dramatic film and things are sad and the actors need to stay in character, it's a very serious sort of a set.
Right.
And whereas a comedy, it's super lighthearted, and yeah, you got to get things done, but everybody's having a good time. Right. And Kung Fu Canoe, we laughed all day, all night. We had so much fun. I'm so proud of the film. It is not a like a high budget sort of a film. No. It was meant to be low budget. It was meant to be tongue in cheek, and I think some people don't understand that, and that's fine. It's subjective.
It's fun to share antics. Like Christopher Devon, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to say, but it was unbelievable. It was so cheesy. Fun fact about the film that Nathan is talking about is that our lead actor, lead bad guy, our big baddie, huge Vikings fan, loves the Vikings, but like the rivals are the Packers. Well, of course, what would he be? He'd be a Packer fan with a cheese hat, and he got punched in the face during shooting. Yep. And we've given him cheese jokes ever since.
Yeah, that was actually, I think, one of the worst things that's ever happened on set. Is we were trying to do these fight scenes and make them realistic, and we weren't very good at it, and my lead actor punched my other lead actor right in the eye, and I mean, CJ was a real trooper, and he finished the shoot, but he had a black eye
for days.
Oh man! So there's actually a scene near the end of the film where CJ gets laid out and he's lying on the mat and he's actually got a black eye, and it's not makeup. That was the real black eye that he had from getting punched the day before by our lead actor, Jay. So, oh man. But even through that, we still had a good time. So there are my top three. Forget Me Not, Peter, and Kung Fu Canoe are the top three that I've ever made. That was a long, rambling answer to your question, but thanks for letting me.
That was great. Those are good memories. So future projects, I mean, have you thought of doing an anthology with all of your films and releasing them that way, or are you planning a feature in the future, or?
Well, I definitely want to do a feature, but the thing about doing a feature is that you sort of have to have, well, at least in my mind, you've got to have money to do it right.
Right.
Because features are so, we've had so many years now of cinema, and we've come so far in film production. The production values have increased so much that if you want your film to look good, you've really got to have some money to put into it. And I think that, I mean, yes, you can make a film on no budget. It's been done. I understand that. But how many of those films do you actually really hear about? Blair Witch was done on like $25,000 and made over $100 million. The most profitable independent film of all time. There have been plenty of other films that have been made on shoestring budgets, but I think if at my comfort level, I think I would want to have a fairly significant amount of money to put into a feature film, which with this pandemic, who knows if I'm ever going to have it, who knows if anybody's ever going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of a far off dream right now that hopefully I'll be able to do, but at least not in the future. As far as an anthology, I mean, I've sort of packaged all my films together in various incarnations throughout the years, and it gets difficult to do that because then all of a sudden I make another one and it's like, I wish I had this included. So that gets somewhat tricky, but periodically we get together once a year, and Distant Calling Pictures puts on a great big shindig where we show a bunch of our films at a theater, and then other filmmakers are invited to be a part of that. So we usually do that once or twice a year, and that's always a good time. So there's usually a way to see all of our stuff put together. But I mean, yeah, it would be cool to actually be able to see everything from start to finish. That would actually be quite a lot of time now. Mm-hmm. It's funny to think back on that and how far that we've come as a team, and how many films I've had my hand in as a filmmaker. It's actually kind of humbling in a way. But yeah, who knows? Maybe someday I'll just have a huge Vimeo playlist of everything if I can stomach putting some of my older stuff out there. But I mean, it doesn't. Honestly, I'm proud of every film that I've made, because it still represented time and energy for people to come and make it, and ultimately any short falling of a film really it falls at the feet of the director and producer, because they're overseeing the whole thing. So I accept full responsibility for any of my films that didn't work, and by token, any of the films that do work. So there you go.
Well, before we wrap up, is there any advice you want to give to someone who is new at filmmaking or is looking to become a filmmaker?
Well, I've said this a lot, and I've always said that if I could share with you for 1 minute how much fun it is to make a movie and how rewarding it is on so many levels, that every single one of you would go out and do it. And really, making a film these days compared to even 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it is so much easier. I mean, you got people making tiny little mini movies for, Snapchat and TikTok and Instagram and all these different avenues every day. So if you want to make a movie, the tools are out there to do it. And it doesn't have to be this great, amazing thing. As a matter of fact, some of the best films out there are short, simple ones. Mm-hmm. So if you really want to make a movie, I would just encourage you to do it. And if it sucks, make another one. And if that one sucks, make another one. And just keep on making them until you're happy with it, or decide that filmmaking isn't for you and you want to go out and do something else. You want to maybe a story doesn't need to be a film. Maybe it needs to be a play. Maybe it needs to be a song or a poem or a graphic novel. There's certainly plenty of mediums out there to tell whatever story you want to tell. But if you think film is your medium, making movies is what you want to do, give it a shot, because there are plenty of people out there that will help you. And there are amazing, amazing actors and actresses in this town who will line up to be in your film, even if they don't know you, and even if you don't have any street cred, and even if you have no idea what you're going to do with it, they will help you. Why? Because we all love the business, and we all love being a part of it, and it's so much fun. So you don't have any excuse anymore. You can make a movie with your stupid phone if you want to. Just do it.
Well, those are very wise words. Just do it. Sorry, Nike. Yep. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Nathan Block, creator of over 40 short films, the owner and operator for Distant Calling Pictures. Thank you. This is Sam Hedden with producer Andy Watson. Now you know, Nathan Block.
Or you can do it your way first, and then you can do it my way. And then we'll just see which is better.